Okay, so hello everyone, and thank you for joining us at today's webinar, a first look at native AI capabilities in Kontent.ai. I'm very excited that you're all here today with us, and you get to see these exciting new capabilities in our product. So I'm joined today by Thomas Ruby. He's the lead product manager at Kontent.ai. I'm Jordan Torpy. I'm a product marketing manager at Kontent.ai. Today, we'll be talking about the state of the market. We'll take a quick look at our product vision. Then Thomas will walk us through a product showcase. We'll talk about our timeline for AI capabilities in our product, and we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. But before we get started, I think we can kick things off with a quick little poll. How many of you are currently using AI for your daily work? So you can answer if you're already using it, if you're not yet using it, or if you are not using it and you don't plan to use it in the future. And we can take a look at the results of that poll at the end of the webinar. So let's just give everyone a minute to fill that out. Got some results coming in. That's great. Okay, so let's start by talking about what the digital experience market looks like today. We all know that last fall, OpenAI released ChatGPT, and that sort of opened the floodgates for a new gold rush in the digital experience market, with people trying to figure out how to incorporate AI capabilities into their product. People are adjusting their roadmap. We're seeing lots of new announcements from CMS companies and other digital experience companies. We're seeing lots of different approaches, and I'm curious, Thomas, if you can share, some of what you've been seeing in the market so far.
Yeah, you're right. We see almost every CMS vendor jumping on the AI wagon. And what we believe and think that although it might be simple and fast and straightforward to integrate ChatGPT or different AI model into your CMS, there are complexities and perhaps hidden nuances that can make the difference between just repurposing the technology and its optimal utilization. And we think it manifests in these three critical areas, where, in my opinion, content creators might hit a serious obstacle when trying to interact directly with the language model. So the first is about prompt design or prompt creation. And I bet all of you who have already tried playing with ChatGPT or trying it for production content creation, that you will agree that it's not that simple to create a prompt that will get exactly the job you need done, because you need to spend minutes or 15 or more minutes refining the prompt to get actual results. So prompt design is more becoming a separate skill or an art, because moreover, what was, for example, not very effective in GPT 3.5 is very much effective in GPT 4. So with every major model update, you will need to revisit and your internal prompt design library and skills. And this would force the content creators to become prompt designers themselves, which in turn would cost them a significant amount of time. But I'm curious, Jordan, what do you think about prompt design from your experience as a content creator yourself?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I was very excited when ChatGPT was first released, and I've spent a lot of time playing around with it. And I've had some great results, but often it takes a lot of work on my side creating a good prompt. Maybe I need to go looking for good prompts that other people have used, or I need to try to play around with the prompt that I'm using to get the results that I want. In the end, I end up spending a lot of time fiddling with the prompt, trying to find a prompt that worked before in the past, and less time actually getting good output. So when it comes time for me to do serious work, I often forego using anything like ChatGPT and just using the tool set that I had available to me before.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we've been hearing throughout our interviews too. So this is just the first point. The second point is about context, and it's nothing new that the output of the AI is just as good as the context to feed it. But the important thing to realize is that sometimes context is very challenging to get, because it's scattered across different roles within the marketing teams, different tools, and even within a single CMS platform, it's in different places, kind of all over the place. And extracting and curating this context and transforming it into something usable in the prompts is, again, time consuming and energy draining. What do you think about that? What has been a critical piece of information for you, Jordan, that wasn't easily accessible for ChatGPT?
Yeah, I mean, again, this is a case of where ChatGPT is just hard to use for my day-to-day work. So the content that we create has a specific tone of voice, different brand guidelines that we use. We create content for different audiences, and so we have to tailor the content that we create to those audiences that are defined somewhere, within our own internal documentation. If I want to have ChatGPT create that content, I need to share those guidelines with it in a prompt, and that's not necessarily safe to do in the first place, but also it's kind of tedious. So yeah, it's these AI models don't have the context they need to do the work that I need to get done right now.
Yeah, and sometimes regular content creators don't even have the knowledge of where to find all the required guidelines. So definitely there is room for making it a bit easier. But these two things were just the basic stuff. Now, what we call composing AI is about achieving complex tasks with AI skills, and because AI skills are just like human brain. Specific AI models or specific AI prompts are like specific brain centers, but for complex tasks, having prefrontal cortex or some kind of orchestration in the language of AI models is essential, because one AI model might be effective for content generation or brainstorming, the other for categorization and determining terminology, taxonomy, and the other for multimedia, for example. But the same as prefrontal cortex is a huge energy consumer. AI orchestration is also pretty time consuming and a complex task. And basically, doing this orchestration and composing yourself or manually makes the same amount of sense as building the front-end application manually. So really, we are talking about time consuming complexity that's by nature, I would say, a programmatic task. So these are the three key points, but if these weren't enough, there is always the challenge of integration. First, it's about maintenance. Either the customer need to maintain the integration, community, or the vendor. And if it's the vendor, then that's the better alternative. But there still are other issues like increased attack surface, because there is yet another API key that can leak that you need to manage. And in terms of user experience, the integration, paradoxically, the experience of integration will not be as integrated and fluent as natively and as native functionality. So integrations bring a trade-off that simply can't be ignored. So we mentioned 3+1 issues, and we believe that there is a huge gap for innovation, for finding a solution that repurposes these powerful AI skills, but at the same time that's optimized for content creation use cases.
Yeah, so then, Thomas, maybe it's a great time for us to introduce our vision for AI in a headless CMS. If you can talk a little bit about what that might look like.
Sure, happy to do that. Our vision is revolved around two major product principles or pillars. The first pillar is integrated experience, and the second pillar is accurate suggestions. So let's talk about each of them in a bit more detail. So integrated experience. So what we mean by that is really native and fluent experience throughout the whole journey. And the devil is really in the details here, because imagine when, for example, working in a rich text, when asking AI to review an article that has already formatting like bold, bullet points, or tables, or entities like linked content or assets within it. Typically, when using ChatGPT for that, you end up with either malformed formatting or plain text, and you need to redo the whole enrichment yourself again and again. With natively integrating AI, we are able to to make sure that the AI respects and keeps the formatting so that you can fluently continue with your task after getting the suggestion. Well, the next subtle detail is about the availability of the experience. For example, content creators would find the AI skills right where they expect them, right? But the possibilities here are really endless because we already were brainstorming improvements for the future. Like we can set up a content type to automatically populate elements like summary or title. And this experience will be very difficult to achieve if the AI weren't that close to the CMS core as it is in our solution. So the next pillar is about accurate suggestions. As I mentioned, the context is important and is kind of scattered all over the place. But if you realize what amount of context already is within the different places in the CMS, guidelines, content type definitions, existing content and assets, taxonomies, well, those are the things that first would be nice to utilize, but also that enterprises might feel a bit uncomfortable sharing with a third party. But with a native functionality, it's a completely different and much safer story. Well, so far we are leveraging existing content for driving context, and we are already seeing very impressive results. But based on all the things I enumerated for different sources of context, you can imagine that with the native solution, we are able to find exactly the right pieces that make a difference for different use cases and making the quality of the suggestions higher. So another two factors in improving the accuracy are depicted on this slide. Um, the next one is about prompt design. As I mentioned, prompt design is not as straightforward. And when I say that, I actually speak from my and from our experience because we spent days refining and trying and failing and finding in the end the effective prompts. And what actually seems like a simple prompt, like make content shorter or changing the tone of voice, is a pretty long and pretty complex prompt in the background that makes sure that all the things like formatting are kept, or the limitations are respected, etc., or that the AI doesn't hallucinate, etc. We believe that by curating these predefined prompts for you, we save hours of doing research compared to when you design your prompts yourself. So really, that's an experience designed for the content creators, not prompt designers. Another factor is when I was mentioning these complex pipelines, the prefrontal cortex orchestrating different specialized AI skills or the brain centers. Imagine a use case like generating paragraphs from your notes or bullet points or whatever format you have the draft in. What sounds like a straightforward AI skill actually might contain multiple steps. The first prompt might determine the category of the content you're about to write based on the taxonomy that you have in the product in your project. The second prompt might use the taxonomy to find and extract the stylistic information from content in the same category, and the third prompt might use this context to generate the actual content, and the fourth prompt might suggest existing assets from your existing asset library that might be fitting for this category or for the content that you are writing. So what we are talking about here is really a hidden sophistication that makes the AI skills more powerful. And so these were the two pillars that we believe that will bridge the gap between only repurposing the AI technology and optimizing it for content creation use cases, and that will also improve the challenges, the 3 challenges that we mentioned before. So that's it about the vision.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas, for sharing. It's been really exciting to watch this vision kind of come to life and be actualized. And it's, I think it's going to be very empowering for content creators and content teams. So maybe we can just take a second to recap on what's unique about our approach to these AI capabilities in our product. The first key point is that we're offering a native solution, not a plugin. And so I think that will really make a difference for content creators and help them work more efficiently and more effectively with these AI capabilities as part of their toolkit. For organizations, I think it's very interesting that our approach is GDPR compliant, and that's because we're powered by Azure services. Another interesting thing for larger organizations is that the data and content that they use in Kontent.ai is secure, and it won't be used to train further AI models, which I think is an important sticking point for some organizations. And then again, for content creators, I think what's really exciting is that these AI capabilities are aware of context. They're aware of the content that's in your project. They're aware of your content models and taxonomies. And that just allows us to have far more powerful AI capabilities within our platform. But we've done a lot of talking about our vision, what we think sets us apart. I think it's time that we actually see these AI capabilities in the product. So Thomas, would you be able to walk us through that?
Yeah, let's do it. So I have an article that I created and post that I pushed for review, and it came up with a couple of comments. And what I'm actually looking at is at least a half an hour, perhaps an hour of refining the content. So let's see how AI can help me with this. So the first comment is about the fourth section, which is really complicated regarding language, and it's kind of also too long. So what I can do is I can select the text and ask the AI to simplify the language in this case. And then perhaps I can ask it to shorten it. So I will replace the suggestion, which uses a bit simpler language, but I can also ask the AI to make it a bit shorter than the original to not bloat the article. So yeah, this works well. Let's move on to the next comment, which talks about not mentioning the data points, but rather putting it into a fluent text paragraph. So again, I will select the data points, the bullet points, and I will generate paragraph out of that. And really, I can here try again to see different angles and point of views of how this paragraph can be written. So I can again replace this, but it's far too long, so I can try to make it shorter. I can try to make it shorter, and this looks fine. So the next paragraph, the next comment is about the tone of voice. The first section can really harm our brand's reputation because it's written in a humorous, even sarcastic tone of voice, and our brand guidelines say that we want to be instructive and professional. So what I can do that I can ask the AI to improve writing in this case, and I have two options. I can inject the context about our tone of voice in our brand guidelines via a content brief, or I can use some existing content to kind of act as a sample when it comes to these properties. So in this case, it's simple for me to use existing content. And what I will do, I will select already approved articles. And these approved articles are going to be used to do the sophisticated composed more pipeline of different AI skills, because under the hood, the first skill is going to extract the tone of voice and stylistic information from the approved article, and the second one is going to be used to generate the alternative content. So yeah, the alternative is actually much more professional. It's not humorous and sarcastic at all. So let me use it and resolve the comment. Now, before I publish this article, there are still two elements to complete. So I need to generate a teaser and a title. So what I can do is I can select the whole body text and with the help of AI, generate some catching or neat summary. I can try again to see some alternatives. And I'm gonna copy to clipboard and insert it as the teaser. And the same way, I'm going to use the AI to generate title for it. So I'm gonna fill it, and now I can either submit the article for second round of review, or I can publish it if I have the rights to do so. So what you're looking at here is me doing what I was expecting to do in more than half an hour, doing in a couple of minutes with the help of the integrated AI assistant. So that's it in a nutshell. Back to you, Jordan.
Yeah, really great, Thomas. Thanks for sharing. I especially liked how you can improve writing based on an existing content sample. That's really impressive to me. So I'm sure the question on everyone's mind is, how do we get our hands on this? It's a great question. So currently, AI capabilities and Kontent.ai are available via a limited early access program. So we want to work with some of our closest enterprise customers to polish and refine these capabilities to make them as valuable as possible for our customers. But these capabilities are currently ready for early adopters. So for people who are part of this early access program, they can use these capabilities in their project and they'll work for them. If you want access to the early access program, we encourage you to join our waitlist, and we'll be sharing links for that with everyone who's on this webinar. So I hope you're all very excited about this. Thanks, Thomas, for taking the time to walk us through the product and talk about our vision. And I believe we have some time to open up the floor for some questions. So let's go ahead and do that.
Thank you, Jordan.
Okay, so it looks like we have some questions already. Thomas, are you ready to take on some of these?
Yeah, sure. There was an interesting question about what is the future of AI in Kontent.ai, and yeah, actually, it's as for the so far in the future is very difficult to answer, but the skills that you've seen now are tied only to content creation, but we believe that AI can help in different areas in the whole enterprise journey, things like navigation, evaluation, or or media management, etc. And in all the steps of the enterprise journey, we want to achieve two things. The first is to reduce time and resources, but the second and most important is to reduce unnecessary review loops and I would say unnecessary human interaction. So that I don't mean that people shouldn't communicate and collaborate on creative tasks, but to make use of the time for really creative stuff and not have to communicate excessively. And the second area we see for the future is how using natural language can help I would say even technical, but mostly non-technical people achieve tedious tasks such as mass migrations or rebrands or mass changes in the content without the developer's help, because the AI is able to understand the task, understand the project, and perform the task if instructed to do so. So that I would summarize as like the further outlooks for this functionality.
Sure. I think there's a related question I'm seeing come up a bit, and that's around translation. Let me see if I can find this.
Yeah. So definitely we see, we identified it as one of the opportunities. But so far we are not sure about the quality of the translation compared to the standard translation pipelines and translation services that our enterprise customers are using. That's why so far we are hesitant about the return on investment regarding this job. But the purpose of early access is also to fine tune and find the true return of investment job or AI skill. So we'll see. So far, we are a bit hesitant about this.
Sure. Another question about the future vision here. This is an interesting one. Could the AI be used to help select an asset for us?
Yeah, it could definitely. One of so we were already thinking like how AI could help keep not only the asset library but also the content inventory organized, so that because people often forget to categorize assets, to categorize content, and when you have this metadata and basically you know which categories asset belongs to, and then you know how the asset is used, in which category of content are used, which categories of assets, then you can use the categorization language model and like more complex integrated pipeline to suggest the assets that are typically used, or the folders that are typically used with this type of content in this category. So it's one of the ideas, but there are so many possibilities that we really need to prioritize strictly.
Sure. We have a question here. What AI service are we integrating with? Is it ChatGPT? Is it something different? Is it multiple things?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, we have a pretty good strategic partnership with Microsoft, so we are leveraging the Microsoft stack. Basically, the AI services, whether it's an OpenAI service for this advanced large language model, either it's GPT 3.5 or 4, then the cognitive services for having skills on multimedia and stuff. And we are also leveraging a new thing that's called semantic kernel that allows you to compose more complex pipelines. So basically, under the hood, different language models. Currently, mostly for most AI skills, we are using GPT-4.
Yeah. Maybe a related question. Are we feeding all the content to OpenAI? Are we using this content to train further language models?
Yeah, perhaps you already mentioned it, Jordan.
Yes.
So
we are not.
You want to pick up this one?
Yeah. So no, we are not. We're using Azure AI services, and they are not using any of the content that you use to train further language models. There was a similar question here, which maybe we can talk about, and that is, let's put this up here. So we're saying the content won't be used to train the AI. How is that achieved when you're using proprietary content to generate tone of voice, for example? Do you want to speak to that at all, Thomas? Or
yeah, of course. So as it's addressed because we thought about different ways how to improve the accuracy or quality of the output, and of course one of the ways is fine-tune or retrain the model itself. First of all, the fine-tuning, we are able to do that per customer. Well, basically, every customer could have their separate model deployment, but in this particular case, we are using a pipeline of requests or prompts. The first prompt is going to extract what's the tone of voice and other stylistic properties are used in the selected content, and creates a context for the next prompt that will create content based on these guidelines. So like first step extracts the guidelines from existing content, and the second step creates the content. So the AI didn't learn on specific examples from your projects, because like in Azure AI services, in the OpenAI service, everything is only in the context of prompt. So after the prompt ends, it doesn't learn or save the question and answer anyway.
Yeah. is a very important question, and that is, have companies already been selected for early access? Is that opening up soon? If so, what is the target date?
So, yeah, sure. So that's actually a good question. You can sign up to early access via the button below. And yeah, we have a few candidates, but well, the seats, the early access is exclusive. The seats are limited, and the way we will need to select which customers will get into the early access. But please try to promote your use case. Basically, what we are interested in is the biggest ROI for the use case. So that's the only thing I can say. And the waitlist is already live. So the early access. But I think if we get in touch, we can get up and run. We can get you up and running, and you get selected. We can get you up and running, for example, in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think that's great. We have quite a few more. Let's see what we can get to now. I think you demoed this one, but maybe we can just give a little more clarity on this. So how wide is the context that your built-in AI function will use? Is it just a single document? Is it your whole Kontent.ai project? Is it something in between?
So yeah, right now there are two options. Either you have your internal guidelines and you can paste the text, or you select one item that will be that will act as a sample item, but broadening that to multiple items. That would be an easy step forward. No promises, but it wouldn't be that difficult. But when it comes to learning from the whole project, there is it's a bit tricky, because even in the same project you can talk towards different audiences, towards different personas, and you need to specify, for example, which collection to use, which taxonomy term to use, or naming convention, you name it. So create or learning or having the AI learn on the whole project might yield inaccurate results, paradoxically.
There's a related question here that I think you answered here, which is, can we add additional context to a question, like rewrite this without using a specific word?
Yeah. You can do that first by injecting the manual guidelines, or by writing custom prompt. But yeah, the custom prompt, it's more like advanced stuff. It's good when it's there, but I wouldn't wanna use it every time I need help from AI. So
here's an important question. What's the pricing for this feature, and will it be bound to usage quotas or something else?
Want to pick up this one, Jordan?
Yes, so I can say that we're currently working on a pricing model for this. We know it will be available for enterprise customers, but we're looking to find the way to provide the most value to our enterprise customers, both in terms of the features we offer, but also in terms of the pricing level and how it's priced. So we don't have the price set now, but we will certainly let you know once it's available. A lot of interest in translation. I think that's an exciting use case for a lot of people.
Yeah. And by the way, we will go through all the questions, but unfortunately, we might not have time to answer all of them on the webinar.
Yeah, maybe one last question we can talk about is, when do you think this will be generally available out of the early access?
Yeah, as we mentioned, we aim later this year. Yeah. And okay. Then perhaps there is one more question. I will try to highlight it, or how do I do that? About if the participants can share this webinar with their colleagues. So yes. There is going to be a recording.
Yes, so absolutely, you can definitely share this. We will share the recording with everyone who attended. We'll have it on our website as well. Anyone who wants to watch it is more than welcome to watch it, and we're happy to share it with you. We're also happy to answer more questions, although we will have to do it probably asynchronously. Yeah. So I really want to thank everyone for attending today. I think it was great. Thomas, thank you for your demo. I really enjoyed seeing that, and thank you for all your time.
Thank you for having me, and thank you everyone for your attention.
Great. Okay, so I hope everyone's excited, and see you all soon.